All right. Hey, everybody. I am back from VMworld. You can probably tell I'm in my office. I'm just going to go ahead and run through some of the stuff that I got from VMworld. I did show off the bag that they were giving out to attendees. Kind of nice. And yeah, it'll function as a shoulder bag and backpack, which is nice. Anyway, I've got this big pile of stuff here. You can see it here. I'll show you. Anyway, just a big pile of stuff on my desk. I'm just going to run through briefly what I came home with. And this is from going through and talking to exhibitors. I did a lot of that. I looked through the sessions and there was nothing that was a major win for my audiences, for you. So, I just felt like, okay, well, I'll go see what the exhibitors have to offer. And some of them also look like they will make for good sponsors. And so, anyway, there was a lot of stuff that kind of fit nicely either for content for, so potential guests or for potential sponsors. So let's go ahead and dive in. I showed this briefly before. It's a notebook, has a pen in it. And I do journaling. And yeah, it's nice because my current journal, let me just grab it. It's right here. My current journal is a smaller size notebook. Yes, it's Game of Thrones. No, I have never watched the show. But sometimes if I want to outline something or doodle something or do kind of a mind map, something a little bit bigger is nice. So I'm pretty happy with that. It came in the backpack, so if you watch that short video in the funky red light, you'll see me pull this out and call it out. Anyway, I'm just gonna throw crap on the floor. A few people were handing out books that talked about what they do or some of the basics of what their company is based on. So, and I'm hoping that if you go to trade shows as an exhibitor, that these will give you some ideas. So, hyperconvergence. A lot of people were talking about hyperconvergence. Anyway, and this, talks about the Maxta advantage. So it was being handed out by the company Maxta. Great, fine, whatever. Hyperconvergence is kind of an interesting idea for DevOps people. I don't see a large applicability to development people unless you're one of the lucky people that works for a smaller company where you get saddled with both jobs. Then you probably care, just because hyperconvergence is something that makes that kind of stuff a whole lot easier. Another book I got, this is from Illumio, The Definitive Guide to Microsegmentation. And microsegmentation is a security strategy. And then I have another book in here, something for dummies, and I'll probably run into it in a minute. Anyway, t-shirts. So this is the shirt that came in the backpack. So, that's the VMware shirt. This was the VMware Code shirt. Kind of a tie-dye deal. VMware Code Fest. All you need is code. Summer of Love. Anyway, they were having a VMware Summer of Code. If you go to code.vmware.com, you can check that out. Let's see. So this was another one that was handed out. I don't remember who I got this one from. And there we go. Anyway, I think they had a VMware bloggers group, and I think that's where that one came from, but I don't remember for sure. And then Zerto. Now this is a small, because by the time I got there on the last day of the conference, all they had left were smalls. So these are nice because my kids come, Dad, can I wear one of your shirts to bed? Because sometimes they don't have clean pajamas, or sometimes they just don't want to wear their pajamas. And some of the shirts I get, I like this one, Marvel. I don't want them to wear it to bed. But the smalls fit my kids pretty good. So anyway, if you were wearing the shirt near their booth, then you got a prize. And when they were down to smalls, I just draped it over my shoulder. But anyway, one more t-shirt here. And this one was from Starwinds. So anyway, this one's also a small. So, because that's all they had. And then there's this penguin from Redapt. And I usually wind up with a few of these that are kind of the stress ball kind of things. They are a little bit nice for when I am stressed out. I don't squeeze them for stress. I throw them for stress. So I have a whiteboard on the wall over here, not a whole lot underneath it. But I do have shelves above it. So I just make sure that, I throw it in a way that'll probably bounce off the floor. I'm not showing you all my favorite stuff. The t-shirts are kind of, they're kind of things that you would expect to get from a conference. So, um, you know, and I get a bunch of these. The other thing that they're nice for, by the way, t-shirts. So this one's from Trinity. Is and they had a whole bunch of Lego brick stuff. Is that when they wear out, or if I'm just not excited about the shirt and it's not one that I'm going to have my kids wear to bed, they make terrific oil rags for cars. So if you're working on your car, you just cut them up. They work great. So that's pretty nice. I got a couple of these. These are basically cooling scarves. So you get them wet, and then you throw them over your neck, and they keep you warm or keep you cool while you're mowing the lawn and crap. I got a couple of those. Another one. They were giving them away like crazy when they were closing up the expo floor the last day of the conference. Then some Lego heads and Lego guys. This is from Rubric. So this is Mr. Flaky Sales. There's another one here somewhere. So now we're getting down to the bottom of this. By the way, I tend to get a bunch of stickers, and I just let my kids have them most of the time. A lot of people like to stick them on their laptops and stuff, unless it's a sticker for a company that I just absolutely, really, really, really love. I'm not super excited about stickers, but my kids love them to death. This one was interesting. So it's a bottle opener. When I got it, it was like, oh, a bottle opener, because I don't drink very much stuff that comes out of a bottle. I don't drink beer at all, and or wine or anything like that. So I mean, it's like Christmas when we get the sparkling cider or something. But this was kind of cool. So they showed that this comes out, and you can stick your phone in it. So you stick your phone in it, and then it'll sit on the desk and hold it up, and then you can watch a video or something on it. So I thought that was kind of unique. Let's see. Here's the other book, the blah, blah, blah dummies, Building an Enterprise Cloud for Dummies. And I was literally running past their desk or their booth on the way to another appointment. I'm like, I have another appointment. They're like, take the book. And I'm like, fine. So anyway, this is another flashlight. And this one is introducing vCloud Air powered by OVH. But you have to hold the button in. So, I mean, it's nice, but it's not crazy nice. And the other thing is that I'll show you in a minute why I'm not super excited about this, because I got something better. Sunglasses. So this is from Starwind. And then there's some other sunglasses here from hol.vmware.com. I don't know what that stands for, but I think they were already in the bag when I got it. Let's see. So this is another Lego dude from Rubric. And this one is that doesn't say. Anyway, it just kind of has a Lego background. But anyway, so Lego lady. And then Pivot 3 was giving out USB drives. So you can see this part comes out, USB drive. And I don't know how, but I wound up with like 4 of them. I did interview their CTO, or at least I talked to her. So that was part of it. CTO or VP of something or other. Anyway, one of the things I like too about conferences is that a lot of times they give me something I can take home for my kids. And this trip I was doing on the cheap because things have slowed down. I have a whole bunch of sponsorship invoices out that will pay for the shows and pay for my ongoing ability to eat and things. But I didn't have a bunch of money at the time. So essentially what I wound up doing instead was I just got swag for my kids. And so I got them fidget spinners. And so this is from Avi Networks. and they do load balancing stuff. So if you're looking for software as a service where they do load balancing stuff, it's pretty cool. And they said they were going to send me one of their shirts, and their shirt said bad AS, like sass, but so it was bad ass. Anyway, so yeah, so these were fun, and I didn't realize this was in my bag after I'd been playing with one all the way home and given one to all of my kids. Anyway, so I wound up with like 6 or 7 of these, and it turned out that one of the other vendors had a bunch of these from Avi that they were giving out at their booth, local company Salt Stack. So anyway, fun stuff there. Now, before I jump into the last couple of things that were my favorites, this was one of my favorites. I love getting socks at conferences. I don't know what it is or why, but t-shirts are nice, and I usually have so many that every year I have to go do a great purge and make rags for my auto habit. But socks are nice, especially the big thick ones. And so I think my favorite ones that I've gotten from conferences are either from Grape City or from Microsoft. And one of them are Visual Studio, and the other ones are Grape City, and they're promoting their stuff. But yeah, so socks. If you want to make me happy, have socks. Anyway, the last thing that they had a zillion of are pens. So I mean, a lot of them are just, they're just your regular pen. Some of them have the nice stylus tip on them, which is also kind of nice to have. So you have something you can write with in your pocket, and then you have something you can use your, on your iPad or whatever. So there were a bunch of those. This is Hewlett Packard Enterprise. Blue ones are IBM. Dropbox. Anyway, and then, so there are 8 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pens, but and IBM had these pins they were giving away. So they had that. I got 2 or 3 of them. I don't know where the other one went. Anyway. But then the last thing that they were handing out were these kinds of pens. And so I've got this one from Dropbox, and it's the same exact kind of thing as this. So this one's from Dropbox, and it's got the stylus thing on the end of it. Sorry, you probably hear my kids yelling and screaming. Dropbox, Lenovo. Oh, Lenovo's just the stylus end on them. That's Lenovo as well. But I got 3 or 4 of them that have this kind of a setup. So let me just show you real quick. So you have the stylus end on that, and then you pull it out, and there's the pen. So you just slide it back in if you need a pen. On the other end is a flashlight. And so anyway, I thought those were pretty cool, and it's got this little tip that goes on it so that it's not going to turn on without knowing. I got a couple of those. And then Vembu, theirs is a pen on that end, and it's got a switch instead of the light. But anyway, swag, I found these sitting on a countertop somewhere, and so I thought, okay, that's nice. But I have my water bottle, and a lot of times I put I'll bring it over here so you can see it. I'll put ice water in it, and what happens is it'll sweat in my house, and then I get this big ring on my desk. And so I was pretty happy to find a coaster as well. So that's all the stuff that I came home with, besides the 6 million fidget spinners that I brought back for my kids. And I have a little ball that when you bounce it, and that was from VM, VEEAM, that when you bounce it, it blinks. And I gave that to my baby, and you probably hear her crying right now because I'm recording this when the kids are not in bed. But anyway, that was fun. It was really useful. I also wound up with a big stack of business cards of people to reach out to. So you'll probably see some of these people show up as guests on the shows, and you'll probably have some of them show up as sponsors of the shows. So anyway, if you have any questions about VMworld, I find that for developers, it's I mean, there's relevant stuff and there's plenty to do, but I don't know if this is one of the shows that I would prioritize for software people unless you're doing a lot of operation stuff. And in that case, it makes a lot more sense because then what they're doing is they're talking about like NVMe, which is the next generation of hardware connectors. They had a bunch of server monitoring and network monitoring and security automation. And they had other stuff that really did apply to developers, but the majority of folks were there and they were selling like server backups and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. Like even the Lenovo booth, they had all of the phones and ThinkPads and everything else, which are kind of the things that I think most of us developers are interested in. I mean, a server is a server is a server for the majority of web developers. Will it run my app? Will it run it fast? And then, I don't know if I really care unless I want to geek out over the specs. So, the anyway, the ThinkPads were all kind of hidden in the back. And I did talk to their folks about ThinkPads and what they have coming up and stuff like that, and that was cool. Unfortunately, my audio recorder wasn't working. It wouldn't read or write to the SD card I had in it, and I didn't have a chance to go get a new one when I was talking to folks. So I didn't get a whole lot of interviews this time around. I am planning on doing a bunch of interview stuff, though, at CES this winter, and I'm hoping to make it out to either November or RubyConf or something like that, and talk to a whole bunch of people there and kind of get the feel for the conference. So that said, anyway, just lots of interesting stuff there. But yeah, you're probably better off going to the conference for your language framework or database engine of choice, and then kind of checking out what's going on with VMware from some of these other services. But there were some big announcements that you can do VMware stuff now with AWS. There were a lot of tie-ins with Azure, and a lot of the vendors that were there actually sell stuff that will connect to AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or any other server vendor you have. So I use DigitalOcean. Nobody even mentioned them. They weren't at the conference. Rackspace was, but they work on all of those. You install the agent and it just runs. But at the same time, if you're doing a big deployment on AWS, then a lot of those tools will actually give you a picture into what you're doing on AWS, where the money's going, how much usage you're getting out of those, what services are talking to the services on those servers, and all of that stuff. So anyway, it was interesting from that standpoint. And if you do need monitoring or, IT support, or if you want tools that make it easier for you to manage your setup between IT and or in development, through some DevOps tools and things like that, and help manage your deployments. A lot of that stuff was there. Docker was there. They were talking about their Docker cloud, but yeah, the majority of people were there, and they were trying to reach, IT and ops people. But yeah, I think it was worthwhile for me to go and to talk to people and just kind of get a feel for what's coming up in the industry. But yeah, unless you're out there building the servers and stuff, I don't see a strong applicability to this. And I know some people have jobs at Crossover, and so if you are interested in that, then do it. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But yeah, hope you enjoyed me going through that pile of stuff I got. I also have some Bluetooth headphones in my car that I haven't had a chance to try yet. I just left them in the car because I kind of halfway opened them, and then I was like, no, I'm just going to go home. Because I didn't want to fiddle with the Bluetooth pairing and stuff. But yeah, the flashlight came in handy. The little flashlight pen, you click it and you shine it. Because I was driving home with my father-in-law, and he left some stuff in my truck, and the dome light in my truck doesn't work. So when I pulled over and stopped so he could get his stuff out, we couldn't tell what was his and what was mine until we're like, oh yeah, I have a flashlight in my pocket. So some of the stuff was kind of helpful and handy, but the swag's kind of secondary. The knowledge and the, hey, what's coming next, and how do we show people what's cool about like Kubernetes and things like that, and Docker. That's the big draw and interest there. So anyway, they did have sessions on that. So yeah, if that's what you're setting up and fighting with and using, then then maybe it's worth going to. But if you don't do anything with operations and your deployment is basically a way of, shelling in or syncing code up to a server, and that's all you care about, then this probably isn't your scene. Anyway, looking forward to going to a few more events this year. I also have, I would say it's like an 85 to 95% chance that I'm going to be going to Microsoft Connect again this year. Not a lot of vendors there. It's kind of their big partner show and marketing show. But we wind up doing a whole bunch of podcast interviews there as well. So look forward to stuff that way as well. But yeah, I'll quit rambling. I'll sign off. And I hope you kind of enjoyed seeing what the latest in swag is. It's funny to see how many of these companies wind up giving away the same stuff. And next year they'll be giving away other same stuff. Oh, also Pluralsight. I forgot. They were giving out fidget cubes. They had a little game. They would, it was kind of a shuffleboard game. And if you won it, you'd get like an Amazon gift card. If not, they'd give you the fidget cube. So anyway, yeah, that's all I got. So I'm going to sign off. But yeah, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, let me know. I'm kind of trying to show the fun side and the interesting side of going to these conferences and not just talk about the technology and things. So anyway, let's jump in. We'll do it again, and we'll talk to you later.